Daily Broadside, day 438. It adds up to 15 if you put all those digits together. Today, I went by a friend of mine, moved up from Charlotte into a little condo in a quiet little area in a nearby town. She needed some work done, so I went over there. I was like, I got nothing to do. I'll come over there. So I went over and pressure washed her little patio and trimmed a bunch of branches. I just took an entire tree out of this truck. Brought her some mulch, just did a bunch of dumb crap, that made spruce the place up a little bit. Nice cedar mulch smell back there now. I'm sure neighbors are going to be pleased when they come home, and I've pruned all their trees that were hanging over, but it really opened up the space. But I'm over there, and it takes me like an hour and a half. I'm loading up my truck, and I'm behind her condo, and I'm in another parking lot of other condos, right? And as evidenced by the vehicles in this parking lot, all the Buick Lucernes and the, that kind of stuff. It's obviously an older, quiet little community. Everybody's got their, their place, and everybody knows their place and their space, and everybody gets along, and they don't want any trouble, right? And so I'm out there, and I'm packing everything up, and I'm pulling on my hoses and everything. And I've got this huge pile of brush sitting up on the hill, between my truck and the back of the patio. And I see this woman come out, and she gets in a little minivan, and she backs up, and she's slowly just creeping along, like almost to a stop. And I'm just rolling hose. I'm just standing there in the back of my truck, and I start staring at her like she's staring at me. And so finally, I admittedly, I'm a little bit of an aggressive person. I don't care who it is. That's just how I'm built. I don't know what makes me that way. But I was like, yes, and she's, because you could tell she was concerned or very curious about what I was doing or whatever. And I didn't understand what the big deal was, like, we're not allowed to, have hoses on the property. What's the deal? What kind of HOA covenant bull crap rule have I broken? And so she's like, you're going to get all that stuff up, right? Referring to all the brush from the stuff I'd pruned. And I was like, yes. And why wouldn't I, just like a total dick. But to be fair to myself, I took it as like, why would she assume that I wasn't going to clean up my own mess? But she doesn't know me, right? And so I quickly, kind of backpedaled in my head, and I was like, it was kind of an asshole-ish thing to say, she doesn't know you, and she probably is, this neighborhood probably deals with people dumping off couches and crap at the dumpster every weekend, people that don't live there, used motor oil and just all kinds of crap. I mean, people treat, apartment complexes and condos and stuff like that as just a random whore, you know what I mean? And so I went over and I apologized. I said, I didn't mean it to come out that way. I said, but what I was saying was, yes, I fully intend to clean up everything, and as you see, most of it's already gone. She's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to assume that you were blah, blah. And we came to an understanding that, we both assumed things about each other, and, it is what it is. And she's like, you don't understand what comes through this place. I said, no, I can completely understand what you're probably dealing with here. I said, but I assure you, I'll be taking my stuff with you. So we hugged, we made out. I'm kidding, we didn't hug. But, so, I went on about my day. And here's the moral to this dumb story is, I try to do things the right way. I make amends and I own up to my mistakes because that's what men do. Only pussies just lie and weasel their way out of problems, and I'm not built that way. But, I also find it to be, like, that's the problem we have in this world. Some people would call her a Karen. And I don't like using that term because there have been some Karen situations where I'm like, Karen's right, but, and it just kind of, and I couldn't imagine being named Karen these days. You must be like, good God, why me? Why couldn't this have been some made up name or whatever? So I get that part, but, you got to do things the right way and all this. I remember one time I returned a 10-cent washer to Home Depot. I needed some specialty washer one like Sunday afternoon. And so I go all the way into town to go to Home Depot because they had what I needed. I got that and like a something else. The whole thing was like $4.10, right? The 10 cents being like the specialty washer that I needed. And I'd put it in my hoodie, and I got all the way home, almost 10 or 12 miles away, and I reach in my hoodie and I realized, oh crap, I didn't pay for this washer. And yeah, I could have just kept on going and nobody'd ever known. The accountants would have never caught that error, you know, in the inventory. But I turned around and I drove all the way back and dealt with the same cash register lady who, when I walked in, it was real kind of quiet that day. I walked in, she's talking to some other girl, and I was like, hey, I forgot to pay for this. And she's like, oh, okay, what is it? And I'm going to pull out this washer. And she's like, that'll be 9 cents. And they looked at me like I had two heads, you know. And I'm like, I don't own this, you know. I didn't buy this. It's not mine, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying any of this to make myself be some, you know, angel or something. I just think that it's not a choice. That's the only way to do stuff, you know. Treat people the right way, you know, until it's time not to treat them that way, until they've proven that they're not deserving of it. And do the right thing. Don't take stuff that doesn't belong to you. Don't hurt people that don't need to be hurt, you know. Defend the weak, but don't just hurt people, you know what I mean? I mean, if you got to defend the weak, beat people down if you have to, but to defend them, but don't just hurt people to hurt people. And that's what's wrong with our world. And so I apologize if I've pontificated and ruminated, waxed poetically instead of said anything that was remotely amusing. So yeah, well, that was what was on my mind, and that's where we're at. And now I have to go take a shower because that big bastard puts out a lot of PSI, and it makes a damn mess. So I'm covered in dirt. Giddy.